In this video, we are going to cover triggers. Why? Because invariably, giving into triggers makes us feel like crap afterwards, right? Learning how to handle and overcome triggers helps us feel empowered and free. And that's the state of mind we want to be in to create, right? And it just feels good to be unbothered by what others say and do. But first, we have to understand why we get triggered in the first place. Then we can tackle how to deal with the triggers. Triggers are a gut level emotional response to something that someone says or something that they did. Triggers are usually seeds that are planted in our past and bear fruit in our lives today. Triggers, or things that set us off, often make no sense at all. We just know the person said or did something, and now we feel a strong emotion or have a strong reaction to the thing that they said or the thing that they did. Many people understand when they're triggered, but few people understand why the thing triggered them. An example of a trigger might be something like this. Let's say that you're dating someone new and things are going really good, right? But then one day you send them a text and they take it like a day or two to reply. They may have a good reason for not replying. And many people would not be triggered by this, but let's say that it does bother you, it triggers you, right? You're aware that you're feeling the negative emotion. You might feel ignored, unwanted, or even unloved, right? But if you dig deeper into this issue, what you might find is the reason that this bothers you so much, while it may not bother another person at all, is because you were ignored as a child, and that felt terrible. So now, because of how you felt as a child, anytime someone does something that reminds you, or your subconscious mind, of what happened to you as a child, you feel all those emotions over again. You can say the person who did not return the text is the bad guy, but again, they may have a valid reason for doing so, right? The trigger is actually not from them. It's actually something from your past that you need to heal in yourself. And I'm not saying that everyone's innocent, right? But you don't have control over everyone, right? You don't have control over that person that triggered you. The only thing you have control over is yourself. And here's the thing with triggers. If you simply get rid of the person in your life who triggered you, that does not guarantee that you'll not be triggered by that emotion again. The universe is certainly going to bring someone else along that will show up in your life who trips your triggers, and you're left with the same problem. So the only solution is to heal yourself. So the trigger is no longer a trigger for you. So how do we do that? How do we heal triggers in ourselves and reprogram our mind? Okay, here's what I want you to do. From now on, when you feel triggered, stop and try not to react in that moment. Go into the feeling, go into the emotion, and feel the physical sensation. Every trigger has a specific feeling. Notice what it feels like in your body. Scan your body and notice where the emotion is showing up. Is there tension in your shoulders? Is your tummy tight? Is there anger in your heart? Notice where that emotion is living in your body. Once you find the emotion, just sit with it for a moment and allow the emotion to just be. If you're in a private space, you can cry, yell, be angry, whatever comes up. Just allow the emotion to say what it wants to say because it has an important message for you, right? Let the emotion run through you. Don't resist it. Just sit with it. For me, most often, I just start crying. And this crying allows the resistance to just leave my body. After you've done this, start writing about it in your journal. Set a timer for 10 minutes and write how the trigger showed up, how it felt in your body, and keep writing about the trigger, and you'll be amazed at what shows up. Ask yourself and write about this. What about this triggered me? Write for the entire 10 minutes. Even if at first nothing comes up, keep writing. When I do this, I find that the good stuff, the healing truths and understandings come up in the very last few minutes, right? Keep going, even if you don't have much to say. Just keep writing. You'll start to uncover, by writing about it, the limiting beliefs and the actions that happened to you in your past that created this specific trigger in your programming. The answers will begin to come. This is where the magic happens. The next thing I want you to journal on, once you figure out why the trigger triggered you, is to ask, is this the absolute truth? So let's say, for example, someone is triggered because their spouse says something about their job. And let's say that this person is a self-aware person and does some journaling on this trigger instead of saying something mean in response to their partner. So this person spends time journaling and realizes that the reason their partner triggered them so badly about their job is because their father never approved of them and always found fault with them and always criticized them. This person never felt good enough deep down. and at some level, they still don't feel good enough. They now understand that their spouse triggered some unhealed insecurity and unworthiness in them. So what I would say to that person is, now that you have found the root of the trigger, ask yourself this: is this the absolute truth? And of course it's not. The person is worthy. We all are, because we're created by Source and we're a part of this universe. And we're all here for a specific purpose. So is this an absolute truth that I'm not worthy, that I'm not good enough, that I'm never going to measure up? No, it's not the truth. It's a lie. It's something that we learned from our past, maybe from our parent, and it's a lie. You're worthy because you're here. It's as simple as that. You're worthy because you're born. You don't have to earn your worthiness. You do not have to do anything to be worthy. You just are. So before I wrap up this video, I want to mention something. Most triggers are not a once and done deal. That is, we have to run through the trigger several times and journal on it before we become unbothered by the trigger. So be gentle with yourself, beautiful soul. Be sure to practice the journaling exercise, the one that I wrote below, and I'll see you in the next one.